sad folks sing. See, this is just a moment, that experience was just a moment of transcendence. In a minute, we're going to talk more about transformation. Trans is from the Latin word that means to cross or across or to cross over, from or to transcend, to go beyond, to surpass where you are. African slaves learned to do that from African spiritism in the ancient world and day, or 400 or 500 years ago, when they were brought to this motherland and they didn't know where they were and they were completely out of control. Some of them had never even seen the ocean when they arrived in the west coast of Africa. But they came here through laying beside one another in defecation, urination, regurgitation, a menstrual flow for 7 days, and then put on stumps and sold nude into slavery. It was absolutely unbearable or unmanageable, except to somehow go somewhere else, to go into a trance and send it elsewhere. Some people do that with a glass of wine or medication or meditation. But just for a few seconds there, we went somewhere. It wasn't just emotion, it was a little commotion with some devotion. And evocation. We evoked or invited or incanted or channeled an energy that was a little bit powerful, a little bit more powerful than we're used to. Whether Unicostal or Pentecostal. That singing was off the chain. Is that Johnson? Jones? Yeah. I know your mama Nia. What we're wanting to bridge here in this particular contemporary service, and I'm wearing the traditional service for because I spoke in the traditional service, which this is an academic robe, and that was more tradition, things that have been traded down over the centuries or decades. It's what the word comes from. This is supposed to be the contemporary, which means present or now, maybe new or recent. And so we're supposed to be a little cooler, supposed to dress down. But as we learned on Friday night, clothes don't make the man or woman. That's what Bruce Jenner taught us. You ever thought about that? He talked about his own transgender. We're going to talk about transformation, crossing over from where you are to someplace else. Now, this is a powerful moment in human, particularly American history, because we're going through a kind of cultural transformation. We have our first African-American president. In a few months, we may have the first female president. We got a Unitarian preacher that dances on the stage. That's a trend. We have a Unitarian Universalist church that has transcended itself, its own culture. And we have an American hero who's an athletic hero, macho man, and the father of several children, 2 by his first wife, biological children, and 2 by Christine, I think, or Chris. America's in a state of, I lost my father. My dad, my mother right there is 85 years old. Today is their 68th birth anniversary. 68 years of marriage. Mom's right there. So she's been a widow for a few weeks, the first time in 68 years. It's almost as if she has gone through an amputation. So Mom, my mother, is transitioning. Daddy transitioned out of his body and out of this realm, as far as we know, out of this world. But Mother is still here, and her 6 children still here. So we're trying to figure out the new dynamics of a family. We're transforming or transferring energy into a space where Dad once filled but no longer does. So is the nation, including Bruce Jenner's children and his 3 spouses, filling up a place or space that they'd never dreamed they'd have to fill up. And he's doing the same thing. What lesson will we learn from all of this? As we probe and feel our way along through it. I hope you saw the presentation. It was dynamic. But we learned that what you're wearing doesn't make you, and it doesn't have to break you. What are we crossing to? To trans means to go beyond or to the other side of, like transcontinental or transgress, passing or surpassing someplace else. To pass through, it's called transonic. What are you going through? Any of you who is a widow would know what my mother's going through. You who feel slightly orphaned in the absence of a father know what I'm going through. You who have just lost a spouse or changed a job or noticed a physical change in your body where you can't do what you once did or can't do it the same way, or a relationship has shifted. You lost the house, or you're in the big house like she is she's been going through that for 40 years without the little pitter-patter of all her kids. And now Derek sitting behind her is there with her. But my mother has to now fill a whole world. I have to fill a whole space. Turn to someone and say, I'm in transition right now. Say it. So what's on the other side or the other place? What's at the other end? We're being transformed or transfigured. In other words, we're figuring stuff out differently. Talk to me, somebody. It's called configuration. There's a new dynamic to my existence. I said in the other service, I've said this only maybe 3 times, that you never become fully adult as long as your parents are here. Another part of your adulthood, 50% of my adulthood is not quite manifested, though I'm a full-grown man, 62 years old. But there was a change because mama's still here, but daddy's gone. So all the energy that those words, and you don't just spell words spell you or cast a spell on you. Some kind of mystical incantation when you say daddy or mama or son or daughter or me or that, husband or wife. Those are all titles. They aren't who you are. Diane Sawyer said to Bruce, are you a woman trapped in a man's body? He said, no, I'm me. But all of us feel like spirit trapped or incarnated in flesh or incarcerated or imprisoned in these bodies. And sometimes we protest or contest. We detest who we are, and we really shouldn't, but we should embrace a reality that's still a mystery to us, or a missed story about us. Who are you? And who aren't you? And how long will we as human beings spend our lives impersonating who we think people want us to be, so in case somebody might like us along the way? That was a good place to do something. Say amen. Be a major transformation for some of you to say amen. So what is if you're going to transform, see, transform doesn't always mean change form. It means to cross to, or to cross through, or to cross over to or from. A lot of people resist change, but you can't resist transformation. What formation, or formula are you crossing right now? Again, if I use my mother as an example, she's crossing the formula of her physical attachment to another human being to whom she's married and through whom she birthed 7 children. She's never been here before. So I'm going to meet a new Lily Ruth Pearson, and so is she. So that's not bad. That's just what is. That daddy is gone. I'm not a victim, and we refuse to be a victim, even of dad. I can't get mad at dad for going. He was so ready to go. Mama's halfway thinks she's ready to go. But you don't have that privilege. You can't steal away. You got to stay away. At 68, daddy might be up there thinking, God, give me a few more minutes in heaven, and then bring my wife. And don't bring them kids right away either. And leave them grandkids there. Well, so are you. You're shifting into who you are and around who you're not. Romans 12:2 says this, and I love it. This is the Bible. You like the Bible? Romans 12:2. Do not conform or conform to or by the pattern or paradigm of this world or realm, this common cosmos, but be ye transformed or transfigured, metamorpho in Greek, metamorphos, morph. Turn to somebody and say morph. Morph by the renewing or the redoing, literal, the renovation of your mind. And your mind is the seat of your reflective conscience. What you know, not what you believe. And there's a huge difference. Because you believe a whole lot of stuff and don't know much. Or what you do know, you forgot. You really know a lot. In fact, you know everything. You are everything. One of the things you know for sure is that you're totally secure, that there's nothing wrong with you or anything, that everything's cool. You know that, but you don't believe it because we taught you otherwise. Talk to me, somebody. The biggest conflict in anybody's life is what they know and what they believe. Your soul tells you you're not poor, you're not sick, you're not old, you're not tired, you're not mean, you're not mad, you're not ugly, you're not alienated, you're not isolated, you don't have any lack, but you don't believe that because the whole culture says otherwise. So you're struggling to be something other than you are, which is cool. You cool, but they're like a fool over here. You can be cool on one day and fool on another, or fooled the next day. So what is this? How you doing? And how your mama and them doing? How Pookie and Ray doing? Metamorphosis is a change of the form or nature of a thing or of a person. It completely complete and accomplishes the same thing. To an accomplished, complete, different one by nature and sometimes super nature or natural. Accomplish and complete. All you really want is to complete or be complete or feel complete or complementary to your own existence. Not compete, complete. Complement or accomplish. Finally arrive somewhere. What are you doing? We're not human doings, we're human beings. So does anybody ever ask you, what are you being? How you doing? What if we said, how you being? Being? I don't be, I just do. You think who you are is what you do, and that's not true. Say this, I'm not what I do. I'm who I am. I know what I do, but you don't know who you am. Yeah. Metamorphic refers to a rock that has undergone transformation by heat, by pressure, or some other natural agency. You have become something metamorphically because of the heat and pressure of the tension. It's a law of physics. Anything in motion causes friction. Truman said, if you can't take the heat, get out the kitchen. Here's why the friction occurs. It's to give you traction for forward thrust. If it's too easy, too much anointing, too much oil, you slip around going nowhere. Every once in a while you have a little traction so you can move about where you're going. So I beseech you, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living or a lifetime of sacrifice. I'm not sure I really like that because that means victimization. The victim was the sacrifice. That's your true devotion. Supposedly that's a religious statement. Be not conformed, don't be conformed. You don't have to be everybody around you. You already are. You don't have to be like them. You're connected to them, and they are connected to you, and we are connected to each other. But be ye transformed. You'll never really understand your connection to anything until you've transfigured or crossed over to a more intriguing or interesting and appealing reality. Now, I know that sounds strange, but you're sitting here thinking about another reality, including me getting through and you going to do what you're going to do next. That's part of another reality you're going to eat. Some of you haven't eaten. I haven't. We're going to take Mama to eat afterward. So I'm thinking about what I'm going to eat. I'm not actually thinking about it now, but since I'm talking about it, I'm thinking about it right now. And then spend the evening with her and spend the evening with my daughter and wife were in Chicago last night. By the way, my daughter won national finals. What was it? Soloist of the female soloist of the nation last night in Chicago. Along with Jinx High School, they came in number 5 out of the top 10. So we're real excited about it. And Gina was up there, and Julian is there, and they're coming home, and that's sort of a transformation. And she just crossed over something. She's been getting up early. She experienced shingles twice. She's had colds. She has flu. She's wrestled. She was getting up and getting there at 6:30. I was getting her. She really worked hard. So did the choir work hard, and they traveled to Branson and to Kansas City, and this was the final last night in Chicago. So how does that transform anything? Daddy's gone. In a sense, the Bruce Jenner, the American icon, Wheaties, strength, masculine, javelin, and the other thing he threw. He was, dissonance, discus. All that was an impersonation, a powerful impersonation, he tells us. And some Americans and other folks have said, how dare you stop being our idol and be you? Do you realize how often you treat people that way? Don't you dare be you. Be who I want you to be. I will manipulate you as much as I can. Manipulate and handle. I will make you change. I don't like the way you look, the way you dress, the way you talk, the way you think. You know the biggest idol on this planet for all human beings? The thing you worship the most and to which you're most devoted? Your opinion. Ops is the Greek word for eye. Ophthalmology, optometrist, option. Your view of things. That's your idol right there. When I was a little kid in Sunday school, a lot of the Sunday school teachers didn't study the lesson, and a lot of them couldn't read it. And they would have, well, y'all read the memory voice. We would read the memory voice. And then they would say, brother so-and-so, what's your view? What's your view? And I didn't bring my glasses this morning. Couldn't read either. I went through that so much in the little country town that I lived, in the culture, and I embraced it and understood it. But I kept thinking, what is your view? Not only of me, what's your view of you? I often say, what do you believe about you? Why do you believe that about you? And how does that belief about you add to or subtract from the quality of your life? What are you transforming to? The country is being forced to rethink. The Supreme Court will deal with the marriage equality next week. The whole country is being forced to rethink. We're having to shift. As you've heard me say many times, shift happens. Look at somebody and say, I'm dealing with my shift right now. Holy shift, it's all happened at the same time. The last part of that verse says, then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is. God's will, telos, thelema in Greek, determination, the termination. His good, pleasing, notice the 3 stages, and perfect. Is there good, desirable, pleasing, appealing, and perfect, accurate, precise, exact determination? Probably not, unless you transform, you cross over and go wherever that is. Otherwise, we're spectators, wondering if it really exists. Perfect marriage, perfect love, perfect body, perfect posture, perfect etiquette, perfect thoughts, perfect you, perfect house, perfect lawn, perfect meal, perfect teeth, perfect toothbrush, perfect toothpaste, perfect toilet paper, perfect toilet, perfect bowel movement. You want me to keep going? You got the point? Yeah, preacher, I got the point. Hurry up. But this image of out there, this image Image is everything, or maybe nothing. Image? Precision? Transformation is part of living. It's part of life. Life is motion. Life is movement. Life is progress or progression or succession. Indeed, life is evolution, evolving, actually resolving or having higher resolution, clarity. I want to see more clearly. I want to be more certainly. To verify is to be very you. To clarify is to be clearly you. To certify is to be certainly you. To have confidence. Confidence. To confide is to have full trust. Do you? Dang, full trust? I don't know if I ain't full trust of nobody. No. If you talk to yourself, you might say that. You say you trust God. Do you realize that sometimes you actually try to manipulate God or train God to do exactly as you want it to do? It's called prayer life. Okay, marinate on that a little bit. If we pray that my dad didn't go or wouldn't go or might come back, resurrection, that's both science and seance. A seance is a meeting between people with a medium that helps you connect with the dead. Science, that means knowledge. Conscience means with knowledge. A seance, are we involved in some kind of seance and a medium is here, whether that's a preacher or a glass of wine? Or a piece of chocolate cake, or a psychic, or a prophet, a soothsayer, somebody that's going to help you connect with a dead dream, or a dead vision, or a dead marriage, or a dead man, or a dead woman, or a different one, not necessarily dead, but a different Bruce Jenner, or a different Adam Lewis Pearson, one who's non-physical, or a different way of thinking, and you're trying to find a medium by which you can connect with that which you presume you have lost, whether that's weight or bait. What am I trying to do? What you up to? What are you trying to prove? To whom and why? I'm not asking you questions that I've answered. Our world is full of right answers to wrong questions. I'm actually inquiring, or querying, quest, inquest, conquest, request. I'm after something, not sure yet, except resolution. Turn to someone and say, what you looking for? Existence, being, security, the state, the fact, the act, the function of living or having objective. Let me read to you, this is powerful, what Linda Jenner said. And I have so much written here, I'm not going to get to all of it today, but I never get to all of it, but it'll come in a book. Neil Donald Walsh and I are going to discuss these kinds of things when he's here, just in a couple of weeks, right downtown. Conversations with God. I want to have conversations about God. What if God demands nothing, judges nothing, and punishes nothing? Talking about transformation. What a minute, we can't go. We need a judge. We need hell. Most of us are codependent on it, and the devil too. Come on, Unitarians, get on that one. What would you do if I took your devil away? Or your vindictive hell? You saying, to hell with that. You ain't taking my hell away. I got people I want to go there. And if they don't go to it, they at least gonna go through it as long as I'm here. What magical, mystical charm or incantation is holding sway over you? Some word that you spelled out that put a spell on you. Linda Jenner says this, and I got to stop. This is pretty powerful. I watched the whole show on Friday, and I thought about, he came out with his desire to wear other female clothes as a man. It's hard to make the connection. I came out several years ago about including people like him. And you. Folks will hate me more for including him than him for including himself. The kind of resistance I've experienced, and I'm not complaining about a victimization. I'm making you aware of a thought process in the human mind. Here's what Linda Jenner, the first wife of Jenner, the mother of his first two sons, Brandon and Brody, this is what she wrote. It makes me want to kiss her. Being transgender, she says, the wife who slept with this man repeatedly and produced him children and said, I don't know, it was 15 of the greatest years of her life or something like that. Being transgender isn't something that can be overcome, fixed, prayed away, exorcised, or obliterated by any other arcane notion. Being transgender, like being gay, tall, short, white, black, male, female, is another part of the human condition that makes each individual unique and something over which we have no control. This is his wife. She goes on to say, we are who we are in the deepest recesses of our minds, hearts, and identities. She goes on to say, my hope and my prayer is that the humanity has evolved enough and been properly educated to exercise kindness toward those who have struggled or who may perceive to be different. Our uniqueness, our individuality, and our life experience, she says, molds us into fascinating beings. I hope we can embrace that. I pray we may all challenge ourselves to delve into the deepest resources of our hearts to cultivate an atmosphere of understanding, acceptance, tolerance, and compassion. That's the man's wife. So how you doing? We are all in this life together, she says. As Henry James so wisely advised, the three most important things in life are be kind, be kind. Just be kind. First to you. The only reason you're judgmental of anybody else is because you're judgmental of yourself. I'm influenced by what was projected on me by my parents. They are influenced what was projected on them by their parents. My great-grands and great-grands and great-great-great-grandparents. All of us are influenced, affected, sometimes infected, or become defective because of what somebody else thinks about you, not who you really are. You got this. You're all right. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. Neighbor is the English word nearby. What's nearby you? That's who you must love as you love yourself. Put your arms around you. This is a magical, miraculous moment. My mother has to love herself as a widow, whatever that means. She doesn't yet know. I have to love my mother apart from the existence of my physical father in their home. And I do. I don't have a problem with that. I don't think she has a problem with loving daddy. But now mama's got to re-love mama. She actually has to relive mama. And she can't go till it's her time. Daddy said, you guys are like aliens to me. It's kind of hurt my sister's feelings, though I've known they were aliens for years. But he told his daughters, leave me alone. I don't want the food you're offering me. I don't want the water you're trying to make me drink. My dad didn't die of cancer, though he had it. My daddy died of starvation. He wouldn't eat. For like 3 months, he barely had the equivalent of a full plate of food. He would not eat. He said, a spoon is not a spoon to me anymore. You're trying to make me eat and I'm not hungry. You're trying to make me drink and I'm not thirsty. He didn't want to be catheterized. Y'all trying to make me pee? I don't want to pee. That's what he said. So who is this guy? We're losing him. I don't even know this man. He's telling us that where he is makes this stuff an illusion. My robe, I got a cool shirt I'm gonna put on. That's cool afterward. And take my mom to eat. But I kind of like this is halfway cool for the traditional service. Victor was over in the humanitarian service. He just had a t-shirt on, a pair of jeans. I can tell by the way you dress, you wasn't up to nothing. No, I'm kidding. Do like this, say, I'm free. What do you think about you, and why do you think that about you? Get those hands up and clear the energy around you. Make some space for your next elevation, your next experience. Come on, move, shift something around. Enjoy this new understanding of who you are. Shake the old person off. Make the transformation. Come on, make that turn. A turn in the road is not the end of the world unless you refuse to turn. Go ahead, make the curve. Make the curve. Go ahead, turn around. Be your next you. Not the one you were yesterday or last week. Wave that goodbye. Experience your own contemporary self. And stop trading yourself down. Trade yourself up. One last time to the yesterday's you. You like that? You like that? That means you like you. I love you. Thank you for your time. Keep thinking, keep growing, keep transforming, and try to figure it out.
You're my brother, you're my sister, so take me by the hand. Together we will work till we're done. There's no hole that...
Thanks for tuning in online. We are so pleased with all the different people who have been tuning in from all over the country and all over the world to our ministry and what we're doing at All Souls here in Tulsa. If you have a chance to send me an email or connect with me in some way, let me know what you're finding, why you tune in, and what you're getting out of it. I would love to hear from you. I'm always pleased when I get messages from different people who tell me all kinds of things about the impact of All Souls Tulsa's ministry on them and their lives and their families. And if you get a chance to make a gift to support this ministry, to become a partner, we would love to partner with you and have you be a friend of the church and somebody who is actually supporting us to create this congregation and the world that we're trying to create together. You can be a part of it, and every gift of every amount makes a difference. We really appreciate your support.